Good evening, future FASS students. Congratulations, and thank you so much for joining us today. We would like to first begin with a land acknowledgement. We would like to recognize that all three of SFU's campuses are located on unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Coquitlam, and Métis nations. My name is Madison, and I am a current student recruitment coordinator with SFU's recruitment and admissions team, and I am one of your hosts for today's event. I am also joined by my esteemed colleagues, Caitlin Davis, the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences Coordinator of Recruitment, Community Outreach, and Social Student Engagement, Rebecca Sengwace, the Indigenous Student Recruitment Coordinator, and our current FASS student, Colin. Caitlin also has some colleagues joining us today that I will let her introduce in a bit. At SFU, we have 3 campuses, 8 faculties, 84 research institutions, and are ranked the #1 comprehensive university in Canada. So if you are interested in doing research, you have come to the right place. We currently have over 30,000 students enrolled at SFU, and under 10,000 are currently participating in co-ops and other work experiences, which you will hear more about today. A fun fact about SFU is that we are the only Canadian institution to participate in the NCAA, where our varsity athletes compete within US teams. At SFU, the SFU community is an integral part of being a student. From clubs to student unions to recreational sports, there is something here for you. I will now hand it over to Colin to speak about his experiences within the SFU community.
Hi there, my name's Colin. I'm in my final semester of a criminology major. I saw a lot of you were interested in that. And I'm also doing a minor in political science, and I have a certificate in legal studies. I can definitely attest to the fact that there really is something for everybody. Some of the clubs that come off the top of my head are like paintball, or if you like to drink tea, go climbing, debate. Those are just some of the clubs that some of my friends have been in. Myself, I've been part of the hiking club. I started and run the backpacking club with some friends. I've been a mentor with FASS, president of Criminology Student Association. So I've done really a lot of it, and I've also worked a few on-campus jobs here, and it's all been really great.
Thank you, Colin. We appreciate that. To build on our SFU community, we've just recently completed our brand new student union building. Our incoming fall 2021 class will get to be one of the first groups to use the new building if we're thankfully back on campus in the fall. We also have a new stadium opening on campus this fall. There will be even more opportunities to spectate our varsity sports such as football, track and field, and soccer once we safely can gather again. We also have a new residence tower opening this May, where we have brand new single occupancy rooms, common spaces, opportunities to collaborate, and spaces to find comfort within your new surroundings. Another of our many benefits of being an SFU student is graduating into a network of over 170,000 proud alumni from over 43 countries. Not only will you be a part of a strong community while you are a student, but to continue to be a part of one once you graduate. Currently, there will be an update in regards to the status of our fall semester in May. SFU is working collaboratively within the community and with the provincial government to safely reopen our doors. If you have any specific questions about our COVID-19 protocols or any other questions for that matter, we will be having a Q&A period at the end of today's presentation. Once again, thank you for joining us today, and I will be handing it over to Caitlin.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Madison, and to everybody here. First, before we go into our session, I just want to say congratulations on your offer to the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences at SFU. Big round of applause. We are very happy for you, and we are very excited to be welcoming you into our faculty. Over these next few months, we will be offering bi-weekly sessions that will help you navigate your educational journey. You can get answers to any questions you might have and get to know us a little bit better. During these sessions, you can engage in some discussion with professors, hear from students, alumni, advisors, and tonight's session, you get to learn about the FASS co-op and career opportunities. Before I pass it on, I just want to give you a couple of things to remember. We have a team of dedicated academic advisors who are available to help you with things like your course planning, your program requirements. They will be offering online sessions over the next few months to help you get answers to some of your big questions like what classes do I take? Make sure you look into this prior to the start of every single semester. So not just this fall coming up, Make sure you look into it every single semester. One big thing to remember, if you change your mind, it is okay. It's very common to change your mind as you go through your program, and our advisors, they're really there to support you through this journey and to help you build the program that works best for you. We are the largest faculty at SFU. We have nearly 12,000 undergraduate students and 23 different departments and programs. So about 1,200 classes for you to choose from. So there's a wide variety of topics available, such as history, political science, international studies, labor studies, economics, crim, cognitive science, and so much more. We are very interdisciplinary. So while the topics that we have, they may seem distinct, but they overlap and they complement each other very well. So you get to take classes that align with your strengths, your passions, your goals, all under this nice umbrella of your undergraduate degree. So you're not really taking, let's say crim was an example there. You're not going to be taking all crim classes every single semester. There's a lot of flexibility on what you're doing there, and you get to take a lot of breadth classes to explore a bit. So we really do encourage you to stay curious, explore, don't worry about figuring everything out right now, and don't be shy to connect with your advisors. We also have a team of peer mentors who are very excited and eager to meet with you. Some of you may have received phone calls from some of them already. We have a peer mentorship program where you can get paired with someone from your intended program, and you can sign up for this. They'll provide you with different tips, tricks, resources to help support you over those first few months at SFU. And it's a really good way to make some friends and get connected to some social and academic activities outside of the classroom. So keep your eyes on some of these exciting opportunities over the next few months. And also don't forget to join the new 2021 undergrad Facebook group if you haven't already. Follow FASS. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at fass.engage. And then you can kind of get connected to some students through that way as well. Hopefully you've all, for the most part, received a mail out package. We have been sending them out continuously. Some of you might not have received it yet, but we have been sending out a FASS welcome package. Keep your eyes on the mail for that one. There will be 5 lucky packages that will have a golden ticket in them. If you get one of these FASS golden tickets in the mail out, that means you win. So there's details on how to connect. I believe it will be a $50 gift card around that for the bookstore. Bettina can correct me if I'm wrong on what the prize is for that one, but keep your eyes on the mail. All right, so now I would like to pass it over to Penny, and we will get started on our presentations here. Share my screen. All right.
Okay, here we go. Thank you, Caitlin. Caitlin's going to navigate the PowerPoint presentation on my behalf. So hello, everyone. And welcome on behalf of Career and Volunteer Services, where I am a career educator. And I believe I've got the best gig in the whole world because my portfolio includes the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, a faculty that's near and dear to my heart. Primarily because I did my undergraduate degree in English and Sociology in about ODARC 100, and went on to do a Master's of Arts as well. So as a career education specialist, I have the privilege of guiding SFU students to navigate, or as they navigate their career and educational journeys. Today, I'm assuming that you're or guessing that most of you have decided to attend university for career-related reasons. And so that I'm going to take this opportunity to introduce you to what's involved in making a career choice and how Career and Volunteer Services at SFU supports career decision making. So next slide, please, Caitlin. Thank you. So Career and Volunteer Services has an amazing record of accomplishment. In the past 6 years, we've been acknowledged for our work starting in 2015 with a special award for our innovative work by Talent Egg. In 2017, CERIC, which is a Canadian national non-for-profit organization, selected us as one of the top 3 impressive post-secondary career service models. And in 2018, the BC Career Development Association recognized us as a career development organization of the year. We're going to start with a poll, and there'll be a couple of them during the course of my presentation, so I hope you'll have fun with them and participate. So poll number 1, does your choice of major determine your career? Looks like we're there. So it's so exciting to see that most of you understand that, in fact, your choice of major does not determine your career or bind you to certain career pathways. And the value of a FASS undergraduate degree at SFU is in the multiple career possibilities open to you. Next slide, please, Caitlin. So I thought you might find this information interesting. This is a tool developed by the Higher Education Quality Council of Ontario that you can play around with and choose fields of studies, and then the data reveals the kinds of occupations that individuals in that field of study pursued. Yes, it's Ontario data, but I suspect the same information would apply to or be similar for results for university graduates in BC. And the top occupational categories for individuals that chose social science majors, so majors like psychology, sociology, anthropology, and humanities majors, so those would be majors like English, history, and philosophy, are business, finance, administration, education, law, and health. And coincidentally, between 23 and 25% of individuals who chose majors from these fields, or pardon me, these majors, were working in occupations in business, finance, and administration. The next highest number were 27% that were working in education, and then fewer as we go down. So you'll see with a FASS undergraduate degree, you'll have lots of choices. Next slide, please, Caitlin. All right, so here's a quote that I'm sharing with you from Carrie Twigg. She's a career coach and job search strategist. And her quote really captures the essence of how career involves volunteer services views career. So careers are one of the most, and I agree with what she said, which is why I'm sharing it with you this afternoon. Careers are one of the most beautiful things you can build. A career is not a job or even a series of jobs. A career is the accumulation of your life experiences and skills. It's something you get to build, and if you ignore it, it gets built for you. She goes on to say, I'm not a let them build it for you kind of person, and I'm thinking you aren't one either. And that's what I'm thinking about you as well. So when you're thinking about career, what's the first thing that pops into your mind? Again, we at Career and Volunteer Services see it as a lifelong journey of learning and skill building that through your education, paid work and volunteering, travel, extracurricular activities like art, culture, sport, and recreation gives you a full whole approach to how you want to, or evidence for how you might want to live your life and the kind of life you'd like to lead, what you want to be in the world, and how you want to show up, not just, again, what you want to do. So you might want to consider asking you those questions when you are thinking about what career means to you. Next slide, please, Caitlin. Thank you. So there are 4 key components to consider when making a career choice. And there's lots of choices to be made. The major, activities that you'll engage in as an undergraduate student, courses that you'll take, cooperative education that you may pursue. And so these 4 components I'm going to touch on briefly are identifying the decision you want to make, knowing how you make decisions, knowing about yourself, and knowing about your options. So identifying the decision you want to make is really about asking yourself what questions you're asking about your career life. Questions like, what major do I select? And academic advisors will be available to, and at the ready to support you in figuring that out. Do I participate in cooperative education program? What FASS SFU student engagement opportunities might be interesting options for me? The next thing that's involved in this is knowing how you make decisions. You've made lots of career decisions up to now, including decision to pursue post-secondary education. So you probably had a good idea about how you make decisions. The key here is to remember that you want to understand your decision-making style, because that aids in informed career and life decision-making. Caitlin, let's go to our next poll. All right, so here we are. I'm wondering what your answer will be regarding what percentage of each of your life you'll spend working. What do you think it is? Okay, I'm just waiting to see if there's any more votes coming in. Looks like they're all there. Great. Okay, we've got some very bright people among us this afternoon. The answer is 71%. And again, that's a big chunk of your life devoted to working and each year. So wouldn't it be great? Think about this. Wouldn't it be great if you could build a career and find rewarding and meaningful work that is a potential for you and who you are and what's important to you? So again, knowing about yourself, next slide. I think we're on the next slide. Yeah, knowing about yourself is key to building your career, one that aligns with your whole being. You want to be self-aware of your values, your interests, your strengths, and your personal characteristics. So I'm just going to take a moment to give you quite a high-level overview about what all of these mean. So values are what's important to you. Things like adventure, variety, helping others, ethical work, social justice, using your skills, achievement. And they are the strongest predictor of career satisfaction. So if you don't think about anything else in this graphic, at least think about the values that are important to you. So I'll just ask you to think about this. Are you clear about the values that are important to you? Next up, interests. So interests play a role in identifying possible learning and work options. For example, if you're interested in helping people reach their full potential, possibilities from clues from your values, natural interests, strengths, and personal characteristics might lead you to consider roles in teaching, coaching, or counseling, for example. Strengths, you're bringing lots of skills and knowledge with you to your post-secondary education, and you'll be gaining more skills from what you'll learn at SFU, not just in your coursework, but other activities like student engagement opportunities. We heard about some of the crew that's with us today involved in FASS Mentor Program through involvement in student clubs and student organizations. And FASS has an amazing network of student clubs and organizations and departmental student unions for each of the majors. Cooperative education, and you're going to hear more from Greg about that. study abroad when we're able to offer that again, and hopefully sooner than later. So again, I just ask you to think about what your strengths are, which ones you'd like to further develop, and which ones will really flourish during your time in post-secondary education. Lastly, personal characteristics. So these are the characteristics that make each of us unique. How we describe ourselves or how others describe us. So patient, thoughtful, hardworking, friendly, outgoing, as an example. When you probably are aware of some of these for yourself, all you have to do is reflect on how some of the words that friends and family use to describe you. So you can use all of your undergraduate experience at SFU to find out what you're good at, discover your strengths, learn more about your interests, and further understand what those personal characteristics are for you. Next poll. So, how many occupations do you think are listed in Canada's National Occupational Classification System, or NOC for short? Okay, looks like the 55,000s might take it. Let's see. Okay, so actually the winning number is 35,000 plus, or 35 plus and growing. So occupational, something to share with you when I say are growing, because occupational titles are constantly changing. And by the time you graduate, you may be able to choose from some of these exciting options: data detective, fitness commitment counselor, cyber attack agent, robot ethicist, data waste recycler, cyborg psychologist, space tourism operator. Boy, if I was starting all over myself, these sound really exciting to me. Hope they've intrigued you as well, what could be in your future. Can you name some occupations that would be a good fit for you? And what you might be thinking about, which has drawn you to attend post-secondary education? I hope so. Next slide. All right, so knowing about your options is, again, one of those things that are important in making career choice. So once you're clear about what you want and what's important to you, so those are your desires, how you want to show up in the world, which includes your natural interests, your strengths, and where you want to use those as an example, then you're going to be set to explore your options. And as Caitlin mentioned, decisions don't get made necessarily in the early days, but starting to keep an open mind and welcome opportunities for you to learn about your options is something that you can kickstart at the beginning of your undergraduate degree. All this really is about is finding out more about the work that you're interested in, and translating skills, values, interests, and personal qualities to help you figure out what work would be enjoyable for you, the ideal work environments, what skills you want to use or develop, the challenges in the world, the world is facing, and the ones that you'd like to tackle, the difference you want to make in the world. And so we at Career and Volunteer Services look at this period of your career life as 5 years of opportunity to explore, to learn more about yourself and explore your options. And the good news is Career and Volunteer Services career educators are highly skilled and knowledgeable and can be with you every step of the way during this 5-year exploration process. And we're here because we want to support you in making informed decisions, and ones that you'll feel really confident and excited about. And so just before we wrap up, I'd like to let you see in the next slide how you can check us out right now. This is the landing page of the Career and Volunteer Services website. We're a full service career center offering one-on-one career consults for career exploration to all SFU current students. We're guiding students and also recent graduates to make strategic, well-informed transitions, in addition to supporting their work search when they're ready. So I hope you'll reach out to us. Next slide, please, Caitlin. So I hope you'll reach out to us because we're here for you and look forward to the privilege of being able to join you on your journey through your time at Career and Volunteer Services. So I invite you to check us out at SFU/careers and learn more about this. So thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this afternoon. If there's any questions in the chat, we're going to, between Greg and I and our supporting team, get to those questions at the end of the presentation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Penny. I will leave this slide up here just quickly so you can make note of this. We'll also add this link into the chat if it hasn't already been thrown in there. And now I would like to pass it over to Greg. Greg, take it away here.
Great, thanks, thanks, Caitlin. Hi, everybody. As Caitlin mentioned, my name is Greg. I'm one of the co-op coordinators in the ARC program here. And so I'm just going to talk a little bit about co-op on behalf of my team. So I'm also an SFU alumni. I did a degree in English, and I would have to admit my biggest regret when I went to SFU was not doing co-op. So I work in the co-op office now. And I wish I had done it when I was a student, and I'll share a little bit with you as to why. So as part of my presentation, I'm going to start off with just a very short co-op true and false quiz, if you will. I'll talk a little bit about what co-op is for those of you who don't know, the benefits of doing co-op, some sample employers and positions, and then at the end, I'll share some of the requirements that are involved. So I'm just going to share my screen with you to get us started here. So just bear with me 1 second. Here we go. So, sorry, 1 sec. Screen, is everybody? Okay. So I'm going to start off, with a co-op, a true or false quiz. So first one, co-op integrates related work experience with academic studies. So if you think it's true or false. Okay. This is the awkward part when we sort of wait and watch. Okay, well, almost. More seconds. Okay, fantastic. Wow, that was kind of a landslide for true, and the answer is true. So the way co-op works is, so normally I'll share a little bit later as to when co-op begins. It's usually around the second year, and the idea is for your first year or so, you're building kind of your foundational skills and knowledge, and then as you go into a co-op work term, you're able to apply some of that knowledge and skills into the workplace, and ideally, hopefully, with some of the courses that you're taking, they will apply directly to the position you're doing. So once you do a work term, then you'll come back and do a couple more semesters of academic studies, then potentially go back out to a work term. So it does kind of have an alternating approach to it, where you're able to integrate both the work experience with the academic studies. Awesome, so that was a good start. So I'm going to move on to the next one. Oops, so 1 sec, there we go. All right, so for the next one, again, true or false? So co-op guarantees students a job each semester they are applying. So if you think true or false. This one's a little more somewhat even. Okay, just a couple more responses here. Okay, so the answer here is false. So co-op doesn't guarantee. So part of what the co-op office does is we provide you with the tools that you need to succeed in your co-op search. So that'll be involving putting together a resume that best presents your skills and your strengths and experience, give you the skills to be able to write a targeted cover letter, approach interviews, but ultimately it is up to the student to apply for the positions. And part of our role is to assist you as best we can in doing so. I know it might come up as a question later, so maybe I'll address it now. I would say in terms of the actual applications, it does kind of vary from semester to semester and person to person. But from what we've seen recently, I would say it could take anywhere from 5 to 10 applications to secure an interview. In some cases, it could be on your first application. In some cases, it could be 15, possibly 20. There's a lot of different reasons for it. But again, part of our role is to meet with you and to try to put you in the best position possible to secure the co-op. Okay, awesome. So we're going to move on to the last one. And let me switch it here. So the last one, true or false? Co-op allows students a chance to meet and interact with industry professionals. Okay. I started with an easy one and finishing with an easy one too. Okay, a few more seconds. All right, yeah, that was excellent. Yes, the answer is true. So I think one of the benefits of doing co-op is obviously you're going to be doing your co-op work term. You will have a supervisor and a mentor as part of the work term experience. And I think one of the big benefits is being able to develop the relationships with your coworkers, with your supervisor. I mean, currently that's kind of more in a remote setting, but even in a remote setting, a lot of our students have been able to build a lot of those relationships, which has actually in turn resulted in other co-op opportunities. So yeah, it's a great way to build those, build that network, even if it's an opportunity that you think may not be the right path for you. Building those relationships is a really important aspect of it. Awesome. So now I'm just going to move on to next, a little bit more about what co-op is. So I mentioned already, we talked a little bit already about how co-op integrates work experience with academic studies. So the next piece is students are eligible to complete up to 5 work terms. So one work term is a 4-month semester. So if students complete all 5, that's going to be close to 2 years worth of work experience that you would have before you graduate. And each work term is either 4 months or 8 months. So I would say, generally speaking, when the jobs are posted, it'll start off as a 4-month work term. And then what we often see is halfway through the work term, if things are going well and you're really enjoying the experience and the employer is really happy with how you're doing, they may ask you to extend for an additional 4 months, which becomes an 8-month co-op work term, which qualifies as 2 co-ops. The work terms are aligned with the semester system, so they do go all year, fall, spring, and summer. So typically the start and end date of your contract, again, pretty much falls in line with the semester start and end dates, give or take a week or so. And all work terms are paid, so it's very important. We are, SFU is nationally accredited with co-op, and one of the key components is the co-op work terms are paid, and both domestic and international students are eligible. So I know at the very beginning there were some students from overseas. So if co-op is something that you're interested in doing, what we would do after a student applies is we would give you a letter that you could use to apply for your co-op work permit, and then that permit would be valid until your study permit expires. Next, so benefits of doing co-op. So as you can see, first thing I listed, and a question that comes up often is it is paid. So it can help finance your education. In terms of the pay, it can really vary from organization to organization. Obviously, I think the biggest reason for doing co-op is about gaining the experience, developing your skills, but we know university is not cheap, so this can certainly help finance your studies as you go along. I would say the average pay can vary between $16 to $22 per hour, but it can certainly go upwards of 22, depending on, again, the organization, their budget, in some cases, how many work terms you've completed. But it can certainly be helpful to save some money along the way. It can help you develop strong resume and cover letter writing skills, as well as enhance the interview performance. So I touched on that already. And as part of our preparation curriculum, students will go through a series of workshops that are focused on these three aspects. And then after you complete the workshops, you'll work one-on-one with somebody from the co-op office to, again, have a resume that best presents your skills and experience. And so the goal is by the end of the program, you'll feel confident in how to tweak your resume for a particular job, know how to write a targeted cover letter, as well as feel comfortable in approaching different types of interviews, whether it's a panel interview, a virtual interview, those types of things. Again, I mentioned before about gaining a better understanding of coursework. So for example, we've had some students in government positions that are involving, for example, Indigenous topics. So in those cases, some of the courses that the students are taking apply directly to what they would be doing in the workplace. And the other thing is, it could also help you, maybe it might spark your interest in taking some elective courses that you hadn't otherwise considered through some of the work terms that you'll complete. I talked briefly before about the network that you would build. So it definitely helps with those relationships that you're building, even if, again, if it's an experience that you feel was a good experience, but not necessarily the right path for you. The people within the organization also have their own network. So in turn, what we've seen in some cases, they'll put in a good word for you with one of their friends, which in turn could lead organically to another opportunity that way. So it's definitely a good opportunity to build those relationships. And then the last point there is, hopefully it can provide more focus and direction in your studies and your future career goals. Co-op is a great opportunity also to explore different opportunities though. So whether that's in different sectors, if you want to try government, for example, if you want to experience working for a not-for-profit, the private sector, it's a really good opportunity to explore these different settings to decide or to try to figure out what you might want to do, as well as maybe what you don't want to do. You might think you want to work in an office setting, and then you experience it, and maybe it's not your thing. So I think it's a great way to experience that through co-op. So next, so just give you, as you can see, there's some sample co-op employers and roles. So I tried to choose a bit of a cross section of, again, governments, not-for-profits. You'll notice we actually work with a couple of consulates as well. So there's the US consulate and the Mexican consulate, which can be really, really valuable opportunities. The government is a big employer of ours. So you'll notice a couple of theirs, a couple on there, like Canada Border Service Agency, Global Affairs Canada. So even though we're in the pandemic, we have actually had some students be able to do some co-ops this term with Global Affairs, even though obviously they're situated in Ottawa. There was that opportunity to do the remote opportunities and get that experience. I touched before on not-for-profits. So an example of that is the Nikkei National Museum and Cultural Center. So that's a lot about the Japanese Canadian history, as well as in the community. With an example would be Community Volunteer Connections as a mental health support worker. So that gives you a bit of a sample of the different employers and roles that are out there. And the other thing I would say when it comes to employers is part of our role in the office is not only just helping prepare students to be successful in their co-op search, but it's also building relationships with employers and trying to create opportunities for students. And especially with the arts and social sciences, since there's such a breadth of different programs and interests and majors, we try our best to get a variety of those opportunities that students can apply to. So you'll see a lot of the employers tend to post with us every term, but there's always new employers that will be posting with us as well. One other thing that's not listed on here, and a question that might come up, is the majority of our opportunities are local. So primarily Metro Vancouver area. Pre-pandemic, we definitely had offerings also Vancouver on the island, also as well as across the country, primarily I would say in Ontario and some in Alberta, as well as international co-op opportunities. So because of the pandemic, some obviously the international activities are currently on hold, but the hope is that those will be back on, as Penny mentioned before, sooner rather than later. So in terms of the requirements, so basically for co-op, it works 2 semesters ahead of when you're intending to do your first work term. So the way it would work is, let's say if you'd wanted to work, for example, in spring of 2022, as an example, then in the summer term, you would apply for co-op. And in that's basically considered your preparation semester, where you would do some of the preparation curriculum, like the workshops I'd mentioned previously. We do have another 2-week online course that helps prepare students to give them the tools ready that they would need in order to apply for the jobs. So the summer would be your preparation semester. In the fall is when you would actually be applying for the jobs. So the postings will come throughout that entire semester. And that's when you would be applying, interviewing, and hopefully getting an offer that you would be accepting. And then you would actually start working in this case, January 2022. So that's important because it works 2 semesters ahead of time. You're encouraged to apply before you reach 75 credits. And so you are welcome to apply in your first year if you wish. And the reason we recommend applying before you reach 75 credits is because when you do go into the co-op program, it is with the intention of completing 3 work terms. And so by completing the 3 work terms, it does stretch out the degree a little bit. And so it's creating enough room in your plan to complete those 3 work terms. So once you get a little bit high in credits, it gets a little bit more challenging to do so. But with that being said, we do look at every situation individually, because we certainly want students to get that co-op experience if that's something they're interested in. But again, you could apply in your first year, and we work also with declared majors, but also undeclared majors. So even if you haven't declared a major, you would still be eligible for co-op. And the other point here is having a GPA of 2.75 at the time of the application. The reason, in case you're wondering about the GPA part of it, it's not so much that employers are set on the GPA, but for us, we want to ensure that students who are in the co-op program, that we do have enough opportunities for them to be successful within the program. So that's just kind of one of the criteria that's used as part of the program. But from the employers, they're more interested in kind of the experience that you bring, whether that's through volunteering, through work, through student clubs, and the skills that you've obtained. And so if you are interested in applying, there is the link right at the bottom there of the screen. And as I mentioned, you could apply in your first year, and we're always welcome to meet with any students before they apply, to meet with them to answer any questions that they may have about the program, to see if it's the right fit for you. So that's more or less from myself. And so I've got obviously the questions there. So I'm just going to stop my share. And keeping an eye on the time, I think that does allow for some questions to come up if there are any.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Greg. Yes, we will open the floor now to Q&A. So any questions you have about the FAST Co-op and career opportunities, please put those into the chat. We also have representatives from a variety of different areas here today. So even if you have questions about student life, any advising related questions, or admissions related questions, really any of your questions, please put them into the chat and I will make sure that we can get some answers here. So the first question we have here is, do you receive course credit for a co-op? Greg, I'll pass that over to you.
Yeah, great question. I forgot to mention that in my when I was speaking. So it's kind of a yes and no. So you receive additive credit for co-op, which basically means when you secure a co-op work term, you are registered into a co-op course. So you are considered a full-time student when you're in the co-op course, even though in the future, post-pandemic, you will be ideally at the workplace. With that being said, it doesn't count as the 3 academic credits towards your degree. So that's why it's considered additive credit. So you will be considered a full-time student when you're on the work term. It just doesn't count as three academic credits. I think the next 2 are co-op as well.
Yeah, they're both co-op. Yeah, so feel free if you want to take the next one. Have students
Sure.
found long-term jobs they've stayed at from co-op?
Yeah, so the next one, does co-op mean you only work for the duration of your co-op, or would you go to class as well? So the co-op work terms are full-time positions. So which means I would say they're pretty much 35 to 40 hours a week. So they are full-time jobs. So we don't encourage students to take courses while on a co-op because the energy and the focus should be in the work term. With that being said, it might be possible to take a course as long if your work supervisor supports it and it kind of works out with your schedule, because we know in some cases course offerings might only be available at certain times, but generally we discourage it. And I missed, sorry, there was one question up there. Have students found long-time jobs they stayed at from co-op? Yes, so in terms of one of the reasons why employers want to hire co-op students is it is a great recruiting tool for them. So when they hire a co-op student, say for 4 months, it's a great way for them to see, if that student would be a right fit for the position, for the organization, because it's not necessarily just how well you're doing in that position, but also, do you gel well with the rest of the team, and vice versa for the student as well. So absolutely, if the timing works out and the budget works out, we have seen a lot of students get permanent, or maybe permanent is not the right word for it. They have found jobs, ongoing jobs with organizations that they did co-op positions with.
Great, thank you. The next one is also related to co-op, I believe. What if by the time we reach the semester, we are ready to get hired, we have completed more than 75 credits?
Yeah, great question. So no problem. So the idea is that ideally you apply before you get to 75 credits, but as was mentioned kind of in that true or false, there is no guarantee that so let's say if you're applying in a particular semester, there's not necessarily a guarantee that you'll secure a job in that particular semester. If that's the case, you could just try again the following semester. So what that means is if you happen to secure your first co-op and you're at 85 or possibly 90 credits, no problem. It's just you're encouraged to apply to co-op before you get to the 75 credit threshold.
Awesome, thank you. Do international students need to apply for a work permit before applying for a co-op?
Yeah, a very, very, very good question and an important question. And the answer is yes. So when international students apply to the co-op program, right after you apply, you will receive a letter from our office asking you to apply for the work permit. And it is very important that you do so very, very quickly, because it can take up to 3 months for you to secure that permit. And the co-op office does require a copy of it before you're able to have access to the postings. And international services for students are great. If you do have any questions about how to actually do the application for the work permit, they're there to assist with that process as well.
Great, thank you. There was a mention of international co-op programs. If a student were to accept an international offer, will the employer aid the student for housing and other utilities while they're working abroad post-COVID, of course?
Yeah, I would say it varies, but generally speaking, no. There have been a couple of situations where that has been the case. Sorry, if it means aid the student for housing, they'll definitely help. They will actually help you find the housing, sorry, but they're not necessarily going to cover the housing, if I'm reading this properly. So they will help with that, with the accommodation, but the student, generally speaking, will be paying for the accommodation as well as the utilities.
Great, thank you. All co-op questions coming in for you, Greg, so you're busy right now. I'll read the next one out to you. Do you have the option to do co-op terms for different companies, or do you do multiple co-op terms for the same company?
Yeah, so both kind of apply. So a co-op is a great way to explore different opportunities. So ultimately it is up to the student. So let's say if you do your first co-op in a government position, then the next time you're applying, because you're the one that's deciding which organization to apply for, it is up to you. We have had students where, let's say they secure a work term at a particular organization and they're really enjoying it, and they're finding that their responsibilities might change the following semester, but within the same organization, then they'll continue on with that organization. So both are possible that we've seen.
Awesome, thank you. Next question. When can I, someone graduating high school, starting university fall 2021, start applying for co-op?
Yeah, I would say probably in your second semester might be the best time. You could apply in your first semester, but I think maybe the second semester, because it is important that you do get some courses done first to sort of like build some of those foundational knowledge and skills. Again, you could do it in your first one, but I'd say generally speaking, the second semester is maybe a good time to apply, but there is flexibility certainly around that.
Awesome, thank you. Do co-op students stay in the dorms, or do they need private residences?
So I'm assuming that's for an international opportunity. So because if it's local, you would, the positions are typically 8 to 4, 9 to 5. So it would just sort of be coming and going. But if it's an international work term, then it would be similar, I guess, to one of the previous questions where the employer might help you in finding accommodation, but it's not necessarily one of those things where you're in a dorm. So it would kind of be the same, I guess, residence that you would have for school, for your studies.
Great, thank you. Is there any requirement for the minimum number of work terms we are supposed to do?
So there is, co-op is an optional program. So when students join, it is with the intention of completing 3 work terms, and you do get a designation on your degree if you do complete the 3. But with that being said, because there is no guarantee that a student is going to secure a work term in a given semester, if they complete 2, great, they've completed 2, that's still valuable experience. If they completed 1, again, that's valuable experience. So the short answer is no. I mean, if you don't complete a co-op, you don't complete a co-op, but there's no negative consequences or punishment or anything of that nature in terms of from the co-op.
Awesome, thank you. And I believe the next question here is about criminology. So just kind of crim in general. Maybe one of the questions was what kinds of careers are available with criminology. Penny, I don't know if you wanted to answer some of the different variety of options that are available for students.
I'd be happy to. Thank you for the question. What I would say is this, that the major doesn't define you. And so there's the obvious majors that would be maybe mostly aligned with opportunities that would be aligned with a major in criminology, like law enforcement, public safety. For example, some people use their criminology degree to go on to pursue a professional degree in law, as an example. Organizations hire people, not degrees, okay? And so again, back to this notion of what is it that, think about what's attracted you to criminology as a discipline, And what are your interests? Because criminology majors also work in victim support unit. They work in some of the social services fields where they're, housing, homelessness, working with immigrants and refugees, working with others. And why not ask Colin, again, what he's seeing from some of his mates, and what some of the ideas they have for pursuing that they're going to pursue with their degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to pass it to Colin as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Thanks,
it's
Penny.
funny that you mentioned that your degree doesn't define you, because I am a criminology major, but I'm working in a field totally unrelated to it. I'm working in program coordination within the university on like the Global Connections program, and I've worked as a tour guide. But yeah, like really the underlying skills that you're going to learn with a faculty of arts and social sciences degree really do apply pretty much everywhere. But as far as like some of the more like traditional paths that like my friends have gone on to, or that I know of, like social work, community outreach, some are really passionate about like helping marginalized groups, so they'll go into non-governmental organizations. Some have gone into corrections, Canadian border security, policing. So pretty much there's such a wide range with it. But yeah, the most common ones are policing. A lot of students want to go into law school. A few of my friends have done that. That was actually my original path, but the more I got into it, the more I realized lawyer, it's not the career that I want. So yeah, your mind may change. So keep your options open.
Yeah, and I think I'll just chime in here. That's the thing. You may be coming in with an idea, and you may be introduced to you may be introduced some other possibilities through your coursework. You might be introduced to other ideas through the relationships that you get involved in, through on or off campus part-time positions, for example, that you engage in, and discover, oh, this sounds really interesting, or this looks really interesting to me, and I think I'll go down that road. I have an undergraduate degree in arts and social sciences. I started my career in public relations. I then worked with a nonprofit society in a teaching and training type of role. I then pivoted to working with individuals who were in an industry that were looking at loss of work. And I also was a co-op education coordinator. So there's all sorts of zigs and zags and roads you can take. And I think the important thing is knowing about yourself. What are the things that are important to you, how you want to show up in the world, and what those natural interests are that you'd like to be part of that career that you're looking to build.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, Colin has a side gig as an SFU model as well. You'll probably see his face around on the websites or marketing materials, or maybe when we're allowed back on campus, you'll be like, hey, I've seen that guy somewhere before. And it could be here, it could be in the brochures. As Bettina said, and really just echoing what everybody has said here, university is really your place to discover about yourself. You get to really explore. There are so many different opportunities available and so many different courses you may never even have thought of. And the careers that Penny mentioned that are kind of coming up now, those are careers that never would have existed, 10 years ago when I was graduating from university. It was a completely different world. So you have no idea what the opportunities are available to you. So really just have fun, stay curious, explore, take a variety of courses. And don't be scared to change your mind. As Colin mentioned, he came in with an idea in mind, and that has kind of changed as he's gone throughout his program. So we are at.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say.
No, you can go, Penny. Yeah.
Another important thing is to have conversations with people. Conversations with FASS mentors, conversations with academic advisors, conversations with family and friends and people that they know, conversations with your peers, conversations, of course, like, be remiss without mentioning this, with career education specialists. You know, we sort of see ourselves as Switzerland. No judgments, no directives, neutral territory to come in and have a conversation with us about what your aspirations are for your future.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Penny. If there's any last minute questions, feel free to put them into the chat there. I will start wrapping things up here. So as has been mentioned, please do not forget to connect with your advisors. If you have any questions at all, connect with your academic advisors. There was a link that was put into the chat there on how to get connected. You will be invited to a variety of different advising sessions that you can come to. You can also make appointments with your advisors, do this every single semester. If you're stressed during your studies, connect with your advisors, connect with counseling supports. Student Learning Commons is also available to help you through your journey. So don't be scared to reach out and stay connected. As kind of mentioned earlier, we had a FASS mail out as well. So some students, it sounds like, have already started to receive their packages, which is really exciting. These are the welcome packages, so keep your eye on the mail for that. We will also have current students phoning incoming students as well. If you haven't already received your phone call, keep an eye out for those. It will be coming from a private caller. It's not spam. They have been getting that quite often, is that they think students think it's spam when it's coming at them, but nope, these are current SFU students calling just to chat with you and really help you and make you feel welcome. So there was one quick question there. Sorry, I missed the part about where can I find an advisor? So we'll get that link put into the chat here again on how to connect with an academic advisor. We also have Bettina putting emails in there for Rachel and Megan as well. If anybody is going into the Surrey FASS 1 program, Rose is your advisor for that. And we have Rose here today. And she can also have she actually changed her name to her email, but she can also put her email into the chat there as well. And lastly, I will change my name as well. So any just general FASS related inquiries, you can always connect with me. If I'm not the right person, I will forward you on to the appropriate person. So thank you all so much for joining us here today. I hope you were able to learn something and start thinking a little bit, as Penny had kind of talked about, and Greg, start thinking about these things. What are you interested in? What are some of those things that you value? This might help you with your course exploration as well, figuring out the different classes to take. So really just start thinking about these things. Do some of that time over the next few weeks. Course planning will start happening probably towards the end of June. So picking your classes there. So start thinking about that. You have a little bit of time to explore. And again, don't hesitate to reach out for any questions. Thank you all so much for joining us here today. Bye.